Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to RC Insiders. I got another cool toy here that I think everybody's going to want to see. If you've been with us for a few weeks here, we ran into this new tool brand called Excited Work. We've done their angle grinder review, we've done their hammer drill review. Just did a big concrete job with the hammer drill, worked out really well. So I've always needed a heat gun. We do a lot of stuff with model RC cars, removing stickers, paint and stuff like that. So I wanted to try out the Excited Work heat gun. They call it Excited Work EWHG001D. That is the model number. Just to go over a few features with it before I show you a few things that you can do with a heat gun and how this one performs. This is a 1500 watt heat gun, so it's a pretty powerful gun, and trust me guys, you're gonna love the price on this one. Is like right around 20 bucks, even a little bit less. So this particular model comes with two heat settings on it. Basically you got low and you got high. What that is you'll see it when you go through your manual there. Of course, always go through your manual, practice all your safe stuff that you need to practice. No flammable materials with the heat gun, because I'm telling you, they get hot. So on the low setting on this particular gun, I believe the temperature was like 660 degrees, which is incredibly hot, guys. And then when you crank it up to the high level, it goes all the way over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's going to be pretty dang hot. Just to give you an idea of some of the stuff that it comes with, you got a bunch of deflector attachments that come with it. You got some concentrator attachments. You know, when you want to concentrate your heat onto a smaller area. One thing you can do with it, guys, is soldering. Yes, it does get that hot. You know, just simply attach your fitting here that'll concentrate your heat into a smaller area. Turn that baby on, and yes, you can solder with it. It will reach its full 1,000 degree temperature in just a little over a couple seconds, guys. So, you know, treat it with respect. It's not a toy, even though I call it a toy, because, you know, I call everything a toy, right? It is a professional tool. As far as the cord that comes with it, it's nice and heavy duty. The gun feels good in your hand. Like I said, we will go over a few things with it. One of my favorite features about it is it has the standalone design, so you can literally just set your gun down, and you know, if like say you're doing some pipe bending, that's another good use for it that I've always found. Bending like PEX tubing, if you get into a tight area and you just need a small bend on it, you can bend pipe with it, PVC pipe. You can thaw out frozen pipes with it. You can do a lot of paint removal with it. A heat gun actually has a lot of uses, and if you're, you know, like a DIYer, you're going to want a heat gun in your arsenal, right? This one also comes with this handle. Like if you're removing paint from like doors and stuff and you get a lot of cracks in it, you just run the heat in front of it, and this little tool right here will get all that gunk out of the middle of it. Another thing that I've found that nobody really thinks of the use of a heat gun is like removing old nuts and bolts, right? This thing is putting out heat over 1,000 degrees, so you can expand metal with that amount of heat. It's not quite a torch, but it will get, you know, you can loosen up some rusty stuck bolts with it. Alright, so that's just a quick overview of the Excited Work heat gun. I'm excited to get to work with it. Like I said, I'm going to link to it in the description. You go check it out, and I promise you, you're going to love the price of this thing. Give me a minute here, I'll set up maybe a piece of wood or something. Another good thing, you know, I've seen people clear up foggy headlights with it. I might try to do that with it. We'll go ahead and set up some stuff here, and I'll just show you how hot that this thing can get and what you can do with it. Alright guys, cool, and I'll see you in just a minute. Another good thing I found, guys, is bending, putting small bends and like PVC, PEX tubing. Like if you got a real tight area and stuff is just not lining up, you can put a little bit of heat to this stuff. It's very rigid, and then when you put a little bit of heat to it, it becomes slightly pliable. Now you just want to be careful, you know, you don't want to bend it in half because you'll put a big kink in it. But basically it'll help you get, like if you got a little offset or something, And the standalone feature, this is really good for like arts and crafts and stuff like that. You know, you can just do everything up and just not have to, you know, you'll be able to use both your hands. That's one of the main features I love about this gun. Heat shrinking, plastic wrapping, there's just so many uses for it. But we'll just turn this thing on here. We'll put it on low, and I just want to heat it up a little bit. So I need just a little offset on the thing. And you probably want to use gloves when you're doing this, because remember, it is coming out of there very hot. So if you can look right in the front of it, you can see how hot it is in there. So basically already that's about 1,000 degrees coming out of there. So I'll just spin the tube and say I'm just looking for a little offset. I'm not trying to melt the tube, but I'm just trying to get it to where it can bend a little bit, and then I can use it to meet my offsets, right? Remember, we're not looking to break the integrity of it. I'm trying to make little bends in it, and that's what this heat gun is perfect for. I'm not going to put 90s in a pipe, right? We don't want to put kinks in it. But you can see just a little bit of heat. Now I can make my little offsets or little bends in it or whatever. Because it makes that plastic nice and pliable. You just don't want to get it to the point where it melts. So having it stand alone like this, it makes it work perfect. That way I can see what I'm doing, how much of a bend I need, what direction I need to bend it in, right? Oh, one of the big reasons that a lot of people get, and remember guys, everything's going to be hot. So if you want gloves on, please use gloves. Get a good set of welder's gloves, even something that really blocks the heat, right? Another big reason that I like a heat gun is for stripping paint, right? And I like to use this fitting right here, because this helps you remember that is going to be super hot. And all these fittings just clip right onto the end like that. They're nice and secure. So this is what you call a heat disperser tip for a heat gun. And I'll show you, you know, the big difference when you're trying to strip paint off something, right? So if you take your scraper and you try to scrape paint off of something, or try to sand it even, you never really want to sand old paint off, because you never know what has lead, and it's impossible. It gets dust everywhere. So if you're trying to scrape this stuff off without heat, it's almost impossible. So I like to heat it up with the heat disperser, and once you get to a certain temperature, you can run that blade right with it, and then you can start to see how easy the paint just starts coming off. A little hotter, and I like to keep moving the gun, and then you can see how easy the paint will start coming off. And if you're doing a lot of old paints, guys, you'll just see that the paint will just literally kind of start to melt, and it'll get all gummy. But the heat gun is going to make your job and your life a lot easier. Especially on like a primer like this, a primer on wood is generally very hard to get off. But the heat gun is really going to make your job 100 times easier. You're going to have to work at it still, but without the heat gun, you get almost nothing off when you're scraping. Especially a primer, it's almost impossible to scrape off. But once you get it to a certain heat, it just comes right off of there. So again, guys, if you're into DIY stuff, arts and crafts, anything that you want to do around the house, a heat gun is going to be an added benefit for you. Like I said, this Excited work, it's a 1500 watts, so it's got some pretty decent power to it. Like I said, on the low setting, you got about 660 degrees. Perfect for removing caulk, paint, stuff like that. When you get the tough paint, Of course, you're going to have to turn it up to the high level, which is a little over 1,000 degrees. So these things are really hot. Realistically, you can start a fire with this thing. You can start your bonfire. You can start your grill. It's hot enough to do that. So keep in mind when you're using a heat gun, stay away from flammable materials. Watch what's behind you. This particular model comes with like heat shielding. So if you wanted to concentrate your heat on one thing and not hit something else, this is a good tip for that. Like I said, you can do a lot of soldering with it. It does get that hot. Use your concentrated tip. This is the heat disbursement tip. So if you're doing large areas that you want to heat up, it comes with all the little toys and whistles that all the real expensive heat guns I've seen come with. The Excited Work. Again, you know, if you check it out, you're going to like the price of it, guys. I mean, right around 20 bucks, you just can't beat it. It feels more like a professional heat gun. So if you're looking for one, highly suggest that you check out Excited Work. I'll link directly to this in the description so you can go check it out. It has a lot of good reviews already. It's a brand new item from Excited Work, and like I said, they've been putting out a lot of good tools lately. So go ahead and check them out. And if you're looking for a heat gun, check out the Excited Work heat gun. Like I said, two temperatures, 660 and over 1,000 degrees. So there's a lot you can do with it. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this review. Hope you're having a great summer. It's almost fall. And until next time, happy bashing.